the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power! Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Black power!
Are you feeling fatigued and can barely make it through the day without some type of caffeine?
Are you on a journey of healing your body but need a little help?
Then alkaline water is what you really need.
Alkaline water has many benefits. Alkaline water can help restore pH balance in the body. Consuming beverages such as soda and coffee can make your body acidic.
Did you know that too much acid in your body has been linked to an anemia, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune disease, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions like gout and arthritis?
Those who use alkaline water have reported increased energy levels, clearer skin, reduction in inflammation, better digestion, and many other health benefits. I've used alkaline water for years, and it's been instrumental in sustaining my health when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis.
Are you ready to take responsibility for your body's health?
If the answer is yes, then our alkaline water is just what you need. Bring your own bottles. It's only $3 for each gallon. To place an order or for more information, you can reach us at 773-846-3091. Thank you in advance for your support.
Hi, my name is Sister Ebony Stevenson. I am your announcer for today. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois, and also live on Facebook. If you would like more information, you can reach us at www.facebook.com/TomaNation2 or give us a call at 773-952-8302. Now I'm going to recite our opening. In the name of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims and Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Odumare, Eshu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all these names refer to the same one, Almighty Spirit, and it is to that essence which I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the Lost 13 tribe, born in North America and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the earth flows through our veins. I greet you in the ancient but holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Now I am going to recite the 13 points of what we believe and know. Number 1. We believe and know that we are not to repeat the mistakes of the past prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator of the heavens and earth. Number 2. We believe and know that we can only establish an economic base through the application of the knowledge of self and the incorporation of the ideologies of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mahatma Gandhi, and Ben Ami. Number 3. We believe and know that the prophets and messengers of the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kemetic Holy Books were all black. Number 4, we believe and know that Jesus Christ of 2,000 years was and is a black man. Number 5, we believe and know that the knowledge of the Almighty Creator goes beyond books written by the prophets and messengers of the Almighty Creator. Number 6, we believe and know that in order to promote and coordinate unity, we must first recognize and accept the uniqueness of being able to worship our Creator, regardless of religious denomination, name, title, ritual, particular dress, or holy book, as long as it recognizes the Almighty Creator of the heavens, earth, and the universe as supreme. Number 7, we believe and know that it is impossible to tell the truth without exposing the wicked governments of the world. Number 8, we believe and know that the United States government, in collaboration with other European nations, have a denial objective to exterminate dark-skinned people of color off the earth through the act of genocide. Number 9, we believe and know that some of the most effective methods that are being used today are AIDS, birth control, alcohol and drug abuse, vaccinations, gang and domestic violence, systematic elimination of trauma centers, the public school system, and public aid within the black communities of America and the world. Number 10, we believe and know that the last trick that Satan is playing on us is the dividing of us by our religious differences, religious gangbanging. Number 11, we believe and know that the conflict between the various religions are comparable to the conflict between various street gangs within the inner cities of America. Number 12, we believe and know that the war on drugs and gangs is a diabolical plot to disarm the black community of weapons, break up the black family, withdraw our constitutional rights, also kill and incarcerate young black males under the undercover code name Able 2029. And number 13, we believe and know that every letter, shape, sound, and numerical value contains esoteric information that completely transcends the specific contextual meaning of the word. Our purpose: to bring about the growth of a righteous community in accordance with the laws of the Creator of the universe, under the leadership and guidance of Brother Minister Raheem Quasad Oxen, to provide solutions to the social and economic ills that plague the communities of urban America. Our goal: to re-educate and retrain youth and young adults to develop positive moral values as an alternative to delinquent behaviors, because you can rebuild a community and not rebuild the minds of the residents of the community to meet the responsibilities of maintaining the community's image. Our mission: to enhance the economic development of our communities by establishing businesses, real and personal properties, thereby creating jobs and or entrepreneurship training programs that will reverse the concept of leaving the community to buying back the community. Our motto: let your light so shine before men that they shall see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Now we're going to recite our salute to the red, black, and green flag. Everyone put your right fist in the air and repeat after me. Here's to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hopes in its future bright, Africa has seen. Here's to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it. Historians shall write of it, this flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 million's back of it, whose destiny depends on it. The red, black, and green of it, oh flag of mine. Here's to the green of it, young men and women shall dream of it, face shots and shells for it, maidens shall sing of it, waving so high. Here's to the whole of it, colors bright and pole of it, pleased is my soul with it, regardless of what is told of it. Thanks to God for giving it this great flag of mine. Please keep your right fist raised high in the air as we sing our Black National Anthem. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power is the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people.
Peace, everyone. Happy Sunday. Well, happy Resurrection Sunday, because it is Resurrection Sunday here at the Toma Nation, aka the Temple of Mercy Association. My name is Sister Ebony Stevenson. I am your announcer for today. Today, we have a very, very special message today from our speakers. It is very important that you hear this, so you still have time to join us live here in the Grand Crossing community at 616 East 71st Street, right here in the neighborhood. Also, if you are joining us live on Facebook, please feel free to share this video with your family and friends. My first speaker for today is our founder, leader, teacher, and guide, Minister Raheem Kassir Aten. Thank you.
In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, the one who made time, the seat of the universe. Known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims in the Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many other Orisha gods. I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we are the children of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade. We are that lost 13 tribe, born here in North America, and we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Mabaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. All greeting words and salutations of peace in the many different languages of our fathers. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Sunday Toma worship service, spelled WARSHIP. Why is that? Because we are at war as a people. But just to keep it very simple, we are at war with Satan and satanic influences. And that war is a continuous war. And that Toma is one of the groups that was chosen by God to fight that war. So we're in a battle for our lives, our very existence. And if we drop the baton or drop the flag or whatever it is that we might drop, that we should hold up to let the people know that we're still in this battle, that we're still in this war. If we ever drop it, woe unto those who become victims because of what we failed to do. Did y'all hear that? Thank you. Which one of these are mine? Neither. I don't get one. I'm gonna use one. Y'all gotta get somebody one, another one. I'm a little thirsty. A little tired. You know, I'm just, kind of real when it comes to everything. A little tired from yesterday. I went to a memorial for one of our actual former members of Toma, former member of Franklin Lodge number 25. Basically, I stood up all day at that particular event, and then I stood up all day, all night at another event at a senior citizen home. And so, I kind of got a little wore out. I had to play a little something. I'm a musician, which I hope y'all by now in Facebook land know that. So I'm here today to introduce to you a couple of people, two brothers. If you've been looking on Facebook and looking at some of the things on our page, you saw a title, Resurrection Sunday. And I know a lot of you all that are Christians probably were puzzled because the time that you heard Resurrection Sunday, it was pertaining to your holiday called Easter. And on that third day, Christ supposedly rose from out of a grave. Well, we know that Christ is plural. It's not singular. And there's a level of consciousness that you attain, which is called Christ consciousness. That level of consciousness is an enlightenment that goes beyond the physical, that takes you into another realm of consciousness that helps you find your way throughout life. But also a level of consciousness that helps you to find your purpose in life. Even a level of consciousness that helps you know whether you were chosen for a specific job or not. Whether you are supposed to be on Satan's side or God's side, or that level of consciousness. That's right at that point where you know I'm either with God or I'm against it. So most of us have a testimony. Most of us have been tested. Most of us have been going through things. And sometimes, see, everybody that go through a death-defying situation don't get those type of revelations. Why? Because the situation might look the same, but there's a difference. The Bible says two people could be walking together, one taking and one staying. The situation is that everyone could be bowing down and praying, and the person that's preaching and praying for you, you might be thinking of another God. How do you know if the person who is praying with you is thinking of the same God that you know of? So everything might look the same. They say there's a way that seems right. But at the end thereof is death and destruction. So we're looking at a scene here where you can say, well, I know a lot of people been through all kind of accidents, and this happened, that happened, and they made it, and whatever. Well, I even know a brother that got shot 15 times in the chest. In the time that he got out the hospital, he ran over to me so I could see all the sewed up bullet holes. But yet, he was called by God. And he was supposed to see the light of what it is he was supposed to do. So God saved him for his purpose, not your own purpose. Your life is given up to do his will now. Your life is put aside now, and you're saying, not my will, Lord, but yours be done. This same guy who boasted walking around talking about, oh, I survived this, hey, hitting his chest, all this and that, was drunk and on drugs one day, and he was at home babysitting. His boy wouldn't stop acting up. His daughter, he had a little baby daughter and a boy. And so he whooped his son and put him to bed. Then later on, after he kept on snorting and smoking and whatever he was doing, he decided to go check on him. And the boy was dead. He had whooped him too hard, but he didn't know it. Why? Because he was intoxicated. He was high, out of this world. See, if you're supposed to do a job for God, you don't live to be your little ripe old age. I'm telling you this now. I know it's true. You don't live to be this ripe old age you looking to attain. And he called me, crying, screaming. I did this, I said, look, calm down, calm down. I said, you called Reverend Stovall? Because he was still in the church with Reverend Stovall, the church that I came up under, Church of God in Christ. Yeah, I called him, he hung up on me. I said, oh, I can believe that. I said it to myself. But I said, well, calm down. And what, I don't even know. Look, sometimes God give me things to say to people that I cannot even repeat to you because it comes from God, if you understand what I'm saying. But I calmed him down. And then when he got off the phone, he sat around for a minute. Then he thought about it. He wrote a note telling his girlfriend what happened. And he took that note and he put it in the clothes of the daughter. And then he went out in the backyard and shot himself in the head. That's what happened. See, a lot of times I tell the young people around me that they ain't my first rodeo. You know how you do a rodeo and be trying to catch the little ox and throw them upside down and tie his legs and tail and all. And sometimes you miss one and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the bull knock you up over the thing and beat you down and whatnot. I say, look, this ain't my first rodeo. Almost everybody that come to me with these challenges, been there, done that, seen it, talked about it, all that. And so if you are resurrected to be erect and to be upright, see, to be, like they say in the lodge, on the square. That's a term I know y'all probably heard. It's to be one with God. In the Bible, he told Amos, I set you as a plumb line. What does a plumb line do in building a building, a house made without hands? Look at all these corners. See all these corners in the building? That's what the plumb line does. That's what they use to make straight lines, to make sure your building ain't lopsided like the Tower of Pizza. All your houses looking like that, be kind of tripped out, wouldn't it? And so that's the plumb line. It helps your foundation. So if he told Amos, I'll set you as a plumb line in the midst of your people, and then he says, and I won't pass by them again. Why won't he pass by them again? Because you're the light. You're the lighthouse. You're the person that sets the standard. You're the person that's the mercy for the people that he was going to destroy. Your presence keeps them alive. And all of their sins and everything, they covered. And usually in the Bible and in the Quran, when a light is removed from the people, that's when all the hell break loose on those people. But see, this is that kind of stuff they don't want you to know about in social media. They made little movies about it in superhero form and all of that. But they don't want you to know that those people still exist. So today, we have two brothers that were resurrected from death-defying situations. They didn't resurrect and become ministers. They were already ministers. See, they didn't resurrect and then say, oh my God, God called me to be a minister. That would be stupid. If they was already a minister, I would question their mentality from thinking like that. But God do call you on an assignment, and you can't get away from it. Oh, you want to talk about Halloween? Toma is Halloween. No, you don't want to hear that one, do you? See, in other words, that same old stuff in the past still work. You know, when God called you to do something, you still don't get away in 2023, 2022, 20, wherever we at. Y'all don't know me. I'm not on this plane. Y'all just ain't gonna ever get it. Anyway, when you come through here, you have a past, a history of this movement and people in your same shoes and position. A lot of times where they left off, you continue. That's even in the membership. You actually would be taking someone's place. Everyone does. From the day of this movement when it began. You may not even know it. And God might not even give you and reveal to you that you might be doing such. Omari just started saying to Sister Ebony, you remind me in your voice of Anita. Don't you say that, Omari? See, but he didn't see that at first when he met you. But over time, it was like, wow, Anita's not gone. My sister Tawanda's been gone for years, but I still see her. I still hear her voice. I still recognize her character in people. So you never miss them. So when God resurrect you, that means to do over again. That means to bring you back from something, to place you back in that spot so that you now can finish whatever it was you were sent to do. And so these two brothers are going to come up, Brother Minister Tahaka, Brother Minister Yahshua, who God set up this little mystery that on October 23rd, I don't know exactly what year, our minister, Yahshua, being a youth minister at that time, had a horrific accident. He was a mentor to a young man that was with him, still a mentor, I would believe today. And they both were in this horrific accident. And then 3 years later, we get another minister who gets the title youth minister. And that minister was in a horrific scenario that involved a vehicle. And both situations could have been a situation where physically they would be impaired if they would have survived. Both situations. See, but yet God saved them. Now, my mystery was why on October 23rd did it happen with both of them 3 years apart? And they, at that time, Joshua didn't know Tahaka to be a minister because he wasn't in the temple and he wasn't a minister. And so God set it up like that for a purpose and a reason. And so I want you all to hear from those two brothers. I want you to know that they're coming not with a prepared script, but only with a lifetime experience that they went through, a life's experience that they went through. And I'm gonna move out of the way because I know that all our ministers in Toma had life, death-defying experiences, all of us. And I know that two of them that were in Toma are not here anymore. And I know that the other two in between them were like interim ministers until the other one came. You know, they just fill a space until the real one get there. And so they just floating through the air somewhere, not dead, just hanging out in the world, doing what they want to do. You know, they just, whatever they doing. But Toma is real, y'all. God didn't give me that vision for nothing just to be playing with it. God didn't save me just to be playing with it. I'm still standing here, and scientists and doctors still have not found out what causes sarcoidosis and what is the cure for sarcoidosis. And people are dying from it every day. Ladies and gentlemen, I think who's supposed to be first? No, I forgot who's supposed to be first. I thought it was one of y'all. Was it Joshua or was it him? It was him.
We discussed it being me.
Okay, then if that's what we discussed, that's who's first. Thank you. Because today y'all have similar spirits. Today, so it's kind of hard to discern. But yes, I'm going to bring to you our current youth minister of the Temple of Mercy Association, who God has been working with, working through, resurrecting more than once on different smaller intervals, bringing him into himself to be all that the Creator created him to be. That's a scary thing, y'all. I know. One person said, man, if I come into the temple, do I have to be a minister? I say, no, you don't have to be a minister. You just come on in the temple and be a member. Even sisters, we had a sister minister before. People don't know that. Do I have to be a minister? No, you don't have to be a minister if you don't want to be a minister. Y'all can, yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up, I'm gonna sit down, and I'll just ask the audience and everyone else to read Matthew 23, because this is the 23rd. So please read Matthew 23. And it kind of relates to their situation. So put your hands together as I bring up the youth minister of the Temple of Mercy Association, AKA Toma Nation, Brother Minister Tahaka J. Shakur.
Original salute.
Black power!
Original salute.
Black power! Black power!
In essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and the one who made time, the seed of the universe. Known among the ancient Kemites as Amen-Ra and Aten. Among the Hebrews as An Sof, Yahweh, and Elohim. Among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah. Among the Muslim and Islamic world as Allah, the one God. Among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari. Among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Odumare Eshu and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all of these names and many more refers to the same one Almighty Spirit. And it's to that essence that I give reverence and submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of the Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the lost 13th tribe, born here in North America and of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all nations flow through our veins. And I greet you in the ancient holy words of peace and that of our ancestors in Hotel. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Habaragani. Alafia. And Ashe. Black power. As the minister said, Black power is just the power to define, develop, and defend that which is in the best interest of Black people. So today is Resurrection Sunday, and as the minister said, it's not Resurrection Sunday dealing with Jesus. We're not talking about the 3 days where he was in that cave, the tomb, whatever people want to say that he was in, and then rose again on the third day. No, we are here to talk about a very interesting scenario. And a mystery we are still in the dark about, but our minister has came into the light of. But I want to start off by just telling the story first. And before even going into that story, as the minister mentioned, there have been many death-defying situations that many of us have went through. As the minister mentioned, he dealt with sarcoidosis that was supposed to take him out. As many of us know, there are not too many people who have actually survived sarcoidosis. It's something that deals with your lungs, but he's still the sax preacher today. When they told him he would never pick up a saxophone again, he still just came from doing a gig yesterday. We talk about our other minister, our co-founder, which let me go and do the things that I'm supposed to do. I am the youth minister, Minister Taharka J. Shakur. Movement was founded by our leader and teacher in God, Minister Raheem Kassed Aten, co-founded by Minister Omari Jahi Aten, and our first lady is Sister Makita Aisha Aten. You have to bear with me. My heart is a little heavy as I deliver this message. But Minister Omari, just a few years ago, was dealing with a death-defying situation, but we still have our minister here with us today. And as you will hear from Minister Yahshua later on today, he also had a very death-defying situation. But it's interesting to me because the first time I've ever had a situation such where a normal person's life will be taken, and I say normal person, I'll go into what I mean by normal person, as the minister said, there are people who know they are chosen. And then there's people who are just here, and then there's people who are called. And the people who are just here, things just happen to them and they don't understand why they happen to them. The people who are called, things happen to them and they understand, but they still don't know the depth of why people who are chosen, they don't get away from it. So me understanding that I'm chosen to do a certain thing, to do a certain work, the first time I had a reminder that I was different, I was in high school. Terrible car accident. The person who was the driver was driving way faster than she needed to be driving as we were on Lakeshore Drive. The car decided to lock up on her. The car began to spin out of control right before we hit the barrier on Lakeshore Drive. The car flipped in the other direction and we began to tumble to the other side of the expressway. When the car finally stopped, we all stepped out of the car. The people who watched the accident, you heard an extreme like gasp of like, oh, because they all was trying to figure out how everybody that was just in the car got out of the car. Our family members, after we all went to the hospital and went back to go look at the car, no one could understand how we survived. Not even the person in the front seat. It made no sense because the front seat, the passenger side, was completely flat, as if whoever was sitting there should have been squashed. But none of us walked away with serious injuries. The only person who got an injury was the person who didn't have their seatbelt on. A few years later, I'm in the temple now. And 2018, beautiful things are going on. I'm a part of a movement that has been growing at that time, Lost Tribe. We've been having some beautiful things. My company, Helping Hands for You, and I'm only able to remember this because I decided to go look at my Instagram around that time and see what was going on. And I even remember that day being such an amazing day. We at the time just figured out that Lost Tribe was moving into ABJ. We just had some meetings there. And so we were really looking forward to what we were going to be doing there. My company, Helping Hands for You at the time, we literally just locked in with 2 personal clients that were opening up so many doors for us. It was one of the most profitable years that my company at that time ever had. So things were going really, really good for me personally. But something seemed interesting that night. One thing that I've noticed in my life, and I think many of us can feel when something just is off. Women have that intuition a little better than men do, but we still feel it from time to time. And something felt off. But I'll give a day of how that day particularly went. Because it's so amazing how it turned out. I went to go deal with a new client, had a wonderful job. They actually paid us $100 more than they promised, which was really, really great. A friend of mine, who was also a part of Lost Tribe at the time, his name is Alex. He invited us to a meeting because Lost Tribe was moving into the South Shore community. And he was telling me how he see me as this great activist and community worker, and he wanted to see me, so he wanted me to be at this meeting with these other millennials that were doing big work in South Shore. And since I was with the president of my company at the time, her name is Shanaze, I asked her, I say, hey, I got a meeting that I was asked, would you like to come to that meeting with me once we're done with our day? She said, yeah, sure, if Alex says it's okay. So we go to that meeting, beautiful energy in that meeting. The people that we met, the programs and things that was put together, it just was beautiful. We left that meeting in such high energy. My friend that was also with us, he asked for a ride home, but we decided to go get dinner after the meeting. So we all go eating, we're eating, enjoying ourselves, talking about how great things are going, because Lost Tribe seemed at this time that it's about to blow up. Helping Hands for You was on a whole trajectory at that time. The temple just moved and it was good. No, you haven't even met Miss Brady at that time. The temple, we were just at the Black Mall and seeing some things happening at that time. So we were seeing progression all around at this point. So I just was in high spirits. As we're leaving from the restaurant to drop my friend off, Shanaze gets a little tired. And at this point, she's never letting anyone else drive her car. And we pull up to my friend's house and he's getting out and he's like, hey, brother Tarka, Shanaze is kind of tired. You don't want to just come in and just crash on the couch. I say, nah, bro, I honestly want to go home and sleep in my bed. I say, it's fine. We're going to make it. I know it's kind of late, but we're going to make it. He said, all right, you sure? So sometimes you got to pick up on certain signs, because that was the first time he ever, I've spent the night at his house before, but it was random that he asked me in that moment. But I didn't pay no attention to it. I just said, okay. We pull off. We don't even get 3 blocks away. And Shanaze say, I'm too tired to drive. Again, another sign. She doesn't let anyone drive her car. But she was like, no, I'm going to need you to drive if you want to get home. Third thing that was weird that day. My friend at that time, he lived in Terrortown, or over in the South Shore community that is deemed Terrortown. And one thing that you will see at night around midnight is police all in the neighborhood. We did not see not one police officer the entire time we was driving. Stay in Inglewood. One thing that's also prevalent in Inglewood is police. We didn't see not one police officer the entire time we drove from 71st and Jeffrey to 71st and Damon. Nothing really seemed suspicious, but I kept on feeling this weird air around me. And my friend, she was asleep at the time. So I pulled up in front of the house and just turned off the car for a second so she can get a little bit more rest. The moment I turn off the car, I look to the left, there's a gun in my face. He instantly shoots. Everything paused for a second. And I don't know if anybody in this room or on Facebook or on Instagram ever felt these pauses in life. It seems like everything just slows down. And you have a chance to figure something out. And if you panic, something bad will happen. But if you stay calm, something else happens. And some spirit of calmness came over me in that moment, and it told me to lay back. And I did. That first bullet just grazed my lip. I have no idea how I was fast enough to move that a bullet that was supposed to penetrate my skull only end up grazing my lip. So I laid down and he shot 20 more times right into the door. There's a picture on Instagram. I forgot to send it to the minister before my phone messed up so he can show the picture on Facebook. But if you look at the picture, the way that my body was laying down in the chair is where the bullets are lined up as if he was targeting my body. He stopped shooting for a second, shot one more time. That one surprised me because I thought he was done. And that one penetrated the door, grazed my back, but also ended up hitting my friend, who again is still asleep, in the skull. They drive off. I wait to hit a car, get fully away. I call the police. I report to them that a shooting just happened, and they don't know that I was involved in the shooting because the way I'm talking to them. I say, oh yeah, there was just a shooting on my block. It was like, is anyone hurt? Is anybody okay? I said, well, we're okay. They said, wait a second. Were you getting shot at? I said, yeah, they just shot us while we were in the car. They say, are you sure that everyone's? I said, there's a little blood. My lip got hurt, and my friend is okay. She's asleep. But we're okay right now. The shooter's gone. The moment I say we're okay right now, the shooter's gone, my friend wakes up. She goes, what do you mean? We just got shot at. I called the minister while my friend is still having her moment because I'm sitting in front of the house. I called the minister. Friend, she's processing everything that just happened in that moment because she was asleep. And so I tell the minister, I say, hey, did you hear those gunshots outside the house? He say, yeah. Where you at? I said, I'm out front. He happened to be looking out the window there. He said, wait, you in that car? That's in front of the house? I said, yeah. He said, wait, did they shoot at you? I said, yeah. Wait, you okay? I said, yeah. But Shanaze, in that exact moment, Shanaze touched her head and found out her head was bleeding. And she passed out. I got off the phone with him real quick to call the police again and say, hey, y'all need to hurry up. I ended up finding out that someone got shot in the head. And we need an ambulance here ASAP. The moment I click back over with the minister, shortly after the police pull up, because the minister is about to step outside because he finds out that it was me in the car. The moment the police come up, they're frantic because they see the car. At this time, I don't see the car. I'm inside the car. To me, you look on the inside of the car, you would not know that the car was shot up. You would not even think that the car was shot up. But I know what just happened. And my whole feeling, my friend, at the time she was my best friend, was passed out with a bullet hole. And at this time, I didn't know what happened. We ended up finding out the bullet just grazed her skull, that it didn't penetrate her skull. And we're going to go deeper into the story after I tell the story because there's some power that I don't know if y'all caught some of the things that I said as I was telling the story. So the police get there, they open the door, they rush me out the car. Because this time I ain't never seen so much blood come out of my lip that it covered all my clothes were bloody. So they rushed me into the ambulance. I say, no, don't worry about me. Get her. I'm okay. They say, no, you don't look okay. You sure you're okay? They cut off my favorite shirt. I was mad. It was one of my favorite shirts at the time. They got drenched with blood. They cut it off and they both look at each other. And they pause. And they're like, you sure you ain't got hit nowhere else? Where's all this blood coming from? I say, my lip. And it was like, okay, they take my blood. They take my pressure. They look at each other again. And they say, this don't make no sense to us. We've been at situations 10 times less than this. You were just shot at 22 times. How are you so calm? He say, I've seen domestic disputes happen where someone hits somebody and they are off the chart. He say, but you're calmer than normal people being calm. He say, how? I said, well, one, I have to stay calm to make sure my friend is okay. Because if I get frantic and start over worrying about her, who knows what can happen? They take me to the hospital and all you keep on hearing is police officers trying to figure out how. The how that they're trying to figure out is the same how that my neighbors was trying to figure out the next morning, but I'm fast forwarding the story if I go there yet. Get to the hospital, sitting in there, and I'm talking to the nurse. They're asking me the story of what just happened. And the entire time they ask me the story, the only question I have for them is my friend okay? Has my friend made it to the hospital what's going on with her? They said, well, she's still out at the moment, but they are taking care of her. Sister Africa, who I love so much, and again, it's so crazy when I was going over this page, I end up seeing that's the same year that I acknowledged her birthday more than any other year earlier in that year, because how much she was doing for me and Shanae at that time. She ended up being like Shanae's mentor, which was very powerful. It was a very beautiful connection. Shoot, thanks to Africa, I met Minister Yahshua. So that connection in and of itself, Africa plays a very important part in my life. More because I met the minister thanks to Africa. Africa plays a very important part in my life as I think about it in the temple. Because even that day, because I don't think as much as happened because the other people that showed up and was there to support Shanae, getting in contact with her mother and everything was thanks to Sister Africa. But as the situation happened, Minister Omari stayed at the hospital with me. Minister Raheem and Minister Yasha went over to the hospital with Shanae to make sure she was okay, because at this time, we don't know what's going on with her. She was shot in the head and we had no updates. And so I finally get out the hospital. They release me after police officers keep on trying to figure out what exactly happened. They're not asking who the shooter was. They're trying to figure out how the heck me and her are still alive. That is the only question they keep asking me and trying to piece it together. You were in the car. You heard the shots. Now we're gonna back up the story a little bit before I talk about my neighbors and what happened the next morning. So if I retell you the story in a different way, a lot of people will say God did it, right? And when we look at what God is and how the temple, we understand that there's a different level of God, the great mind, and who we are and the powers that we have. So again, as I tell the story, when the person pulled up, I looked to my side and I noticed that a gun was in my face. It shocked me. I'm shocked that a black man is shooting at me. Since I was shocked, that bullet penetrated the door. The next 20 shots, I was calm. I told myself, I'm not dying here, as well as my friend is not dying here. I don't know if anybody noticed. I said she stayed asleep the entire shooting. Now, everybody in the neighborhood woke up. She was in the car with me. Look, the minister is in the back showing what he did. He jumped out the bed. And on the phone, rolled around to make sure because how close it was, but she stayed asleep in the vehicle as the shooting was happening. Now, if I was to tell you what she experienced, because me and her had a conversation about it, because she still was perplexed that she slept through a shooting that happened to her. So she says she felt like she was in the dream she was in, she felt like she was in her mother's womb. That this barrier was protected around her, and all she kept on hearing was a sound like boom, 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 boom. But it was the shots hitting the door, but all she was hearing was like a vibration sound, like when you're in your mother's belly and she's rubbing her belly. That's what she was hearing. She didn't wake up until I said it was safe. How was it that I felt that it was safe? Because again, another bullet penetrated the car. Because it surprised me. I was surprised. I thought he was done shooting. I thought it was over with. I said, okay, we survived that. They gonna drive off. He shot one more time. I still don't understand why he shot one more time. You just shot up the car. You decided to reload your clip, then shoot just one more time. But that's what happened. He decided to shoot just one more time. Again, that one surprised me. So it came and penetrated the door and grazed my back. The doctor said, when they were explaining this to Shanae, that if that bullet did not graze my back first, she would be dead. But I will present a question. If you look inside the vehicle and see the way the bullet entered the car, it makes no sense for it to have grazed off my back. So this is when we went to investigate the car in the morning. The bullet hole came through the back of the seat and would have penetrated and broke my collarbone. But no, instead, when it hit my collarbone, it diverted. I didn't know our skin was bulletproof. The only bulletproof person that I heard of recently was Luke Cage. But that goes into the power, and I think I'm gonna close going into that power as I continue to tell the story. But the next morning was very eerie. The next morning was very eerie because after sitting in the hospital for about 4 to 5 hours waiting to get any update about Shanaze, I kind of left out some of the personal side of what else happened that day dealing with Shanaze, because she was ending something and starting to open up a whole new door to another life. She just moved into a new place and everything. So her life was starting off fresh as well as many things was moving for myself. So it just seemed like everything was really going good. So for this to happen, the energy in the hospital as we're sitting there waiting to hear anything. We prayed a few times. I'm very appreciative to the people who came to support and be there for us at the time. One brother, Lamont, not the Lamont Polo, but the Lamont that is the activist out there in the streets. He came and he stayed with us for the entire night because Sister Africa asked him to come. Sister Africa stayed with us the entire night until we got any update. One of our major goals was trying to get in contact with her mother, because I didn't have her mother's phone number. Sister Africa didn't have her mother's phone number. So all we did was try to get in contact with Shanaze's mother. By the time the sun came up, the minister was like, I think we should go home because we finally got to go and see Shanaze. She wasn't all that at that moment. She suffered blood loss in the brain. And so she wasn't fully there when we went to see it, but I was happy to see that she survived. A part of me was mad at myself because I let myself get shocked. But a part of me knew that if Shanaze woke up while we was inside of that car, we both would have died. 30 minutes prior to us getting shot, the same vehicle that shot at us killed 2 people sitting in their car the exact same night. 30 minutes after shooting at us, they went and killed a young lady sitting in their car. See, a lot of people was trying to figure out the situation. They was like, was this a targeted attack? Who was targeting you? Why did this happen? I say, no, it was a random act of violence. And I say random act of violence because the brothers who did the shooting, it was a funeral that same day. They got shot up early that morning. And one of the gang leaders said he wanted blood. He didn't care where it came from. It just has to be the community where they knew the people who they was at war with lived there. And they said, if you see anybody after a certain time sitting in their car, kill them. We want blood. So 2 people died before us and a sister died after us. But one of the craziest things, see, at first I thought it was a black man that did it to me, right? Because the skin was black, he was a black person, right? He was our brother. But there was something else inside of him that I seen. You ever looked into a person's eyes and you can see their spirit, see what energy is on? See, one thing that we teach in the temple, we understand that most shootings and murders, 80% of them, the person's off of some type of alcohol or drug. So that brother was not there when he shot at me. It couldn't have been him because the way that our children, see, we have to look at the mindset, and I'm going back into resurrection, but just the mindset that this music and drugs predicate and puts into our children that causes them to do certain things. That if all you're hearing and, see, because I'm getting really irritated when I see these little videos and these 15, 14-year-olds talking about they're wearing these masks and covering their faces because they're protecting themselves from their ops. Who told them that they had ops except for music that continually portrays, oh, my ops is doing this and violence is doing this. I heard the music they were playing in the car when they shot at us. So we talk about the energy of that on top of it. So I had to do something that was really, really hard, especially when I was talking to one of my brothers, because I got to talk about the day after. And this is the mystery that I'm still trying to figure out. And a lot of my friends were trying to figure out is, how did I still go out and live after such a situation? Because I didn't let it affect me that I got just shot at 22 times. We had a meeting scheduled that next day. I still went to that meeting. I'm sitting in the meeting, but it did affect me as my friend sitting in the hospital because her family thought I had something to do with us getting shot. They wouldn't let me come see her. That is a whole nother story. But since it is two of us, I told you my story and what happened and how I survived, and that there was something greater in and of itself. Now, I would like to bring to you the person who actually inspired me to come into the temple. See, the relationship I have with Minister Yahshua that brought me into the temple, I met him with the minister, then it was Sister Africa taking me out, spending the day with her, and Minister Yahshua ended up being our ride that day. We had a very powerful conversation. So then when I came to the Temple of Mercy a few years later, and he was a minister, I felt that that was the place that I was supposed to be. And so I didn't know at this time that there was an incident that happened on October 23rd, which he is now going to tell you about. So if you could please stand and help me welcome to the stage our minister, Brother Minister Yahshua Hakeem Aten.
Wow, I feel so underdressed. I'm used to the minister in his suits, but now you in your suits, y'all gonna have to make me go to the suit store. I can't fit my suits no more. I lost too much weight. I know y'all thought I was gonna say I was big. I heard y'all. I heard you. But in the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sonships of millions and trillions of years, and he who's made time, the seed of the universe. He's known among the ancient Kemites or the indigenous people of Africa as Amin-Ra Aten. He's known among the Hebrews as Ansof, Yahweh, and Elohim. Among the Christians as Lord God and Jehovah. And among the Muslim and the Islamic world as Allah, the one God. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty God, and it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. Just as atoms unite to form the elements of life, so must we be in our unity and in our work. It is always a privilege and an honor to stand before the chosen people of God. And when you're communicating to people, especially through a letter or through text or script or scriptures that we study, it's always good to make sure you address your letter to who you're talking to, because we're talking about the chosen people of God, those chosen people of God who survived the transatlantic slave trade, those chosen people of God who has the blood of every nation of the earth flowing through their veins, that chosen people of God that God chose here in the wilderness of North America. I just want to begin by saying my name is Brother Minister Yahshua Hakeem Aten. Yahshua is the rescuer, the deliverer. What do we need to be rescued from, and who do we need to be delivered from? There are several people who had that title before us: the deliverer, the rescuer. Yahshua was a ruler. He served as an administrator. He was a physician. He was a judge. In Islam, Yahshua means the all-wise, the one who is qualified to judge the worth of things. A lot of people attribute my attributes or my gift or my talent in the form of what we might consider money or fiat, and what he knows the numbers, mathematical genius, and all of those different things. But I want us to understand what money really is. Money is just a metrics. It's just like inches, it's just like kilometers, it's just like centimeters that you use to measure the value of your time, your effort, the results for actions taken or work given. It's not something that this world has taught us becomes this great sin or downfall if you have this pursuit, because it's much like the plumb line. Without that plumb line, we wouldn't have these 90-degree angles. We wouldn't have these squares. We wouldn't be standing perpendicular. Brother Minister Tahaki and myself were two men, long awaiting in darkness, waiting to be risen to the level of the deliverer, the one who comes to rescue. It's not a coincidence that this happened in the month of October. And then that month, we're studying Message to the Black Man. And we're also celebrating the anniversary of the Million Man March, or what we consider the Holy Day of Atonement. And in the word atonement, the first four letters is Aten. Who was Aten? Where did Aten come from? Aten was a very important person in our lineage. He served and ruled under the 18th dynasty of a new kingdom in Egypt. He was famous, and his most greatest accomplishment was he turned all the traditional religions of Egypt from the worship of many gods to the worship of a single God. And so when you look at our opening, we talk about all these different names and attributes of God, but we say in the end, all of these names refer to who? The same one, Almighty God. Not all this religious gangbanging that the Hebrews stand on our corners and do, talking about we the 12th tribe and this, that, and the other. And I wanted so bad. I just tried to muster Tahaka spirit because I just wanted to go over there all by myself and challenge all 10 of them guys standing there, but it just didn't come. I said, no, I ain't going to try to do this by myself. But I really wanted to challenge this thing about the 12th tribe because we represent all the tribes. All 12 of them is us. We're the originators of all of this stuff that we're fighting about. It's not a coincidence that our former spokesperson, Minister Armand McWilliams, made his transition in October. Something about that 10. So I went to go study the 10 a little bit, Brother Minister, and this is what I found out. Do y'all know who the 10th disciple of Jesus was? It ain't no probably, it was. It was Judas. The numbers say it was Judas. And then I went to the Quran and I said, let me study chapter 10. And I went to the 23rd verse, and it happened to be in section 3 of Jonah, which is where God told the people to study Jonah because they were talking about being freed and being rescued. And the section that it falls in, it deals with merciful dealings. Merciful dealings. There are so many thoughts that go through my mind from the day of that accident. The thought I had at that moment, the thought I had before the accident, after the accident, after the lawyers and everybody else went away, and I started looking into the file to find out who the person was and all of these different things. I found out that the young man that hit us in the accident carjacked my brother a month before. This exact same guy. And I remember him, I can't say all of this on tape, but wanting to do something about being carjacked and me saying, no, brother, we have to have mercy upon people. And then a month later, I'm hit in a car accident by the same carjacker that carjacked him a month before. And so I looked at everything that was going on in what Tahaka talked about earlier, Terrortown, all the carjackings. I talked to some family members that work for the police, and they say, oh, yeah, we know. All the carjackings take place over there. They all live on 75th and Coles. That area is notorious. We know when we're looking for a car, we just know to go over there, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to show up at some point or later. And so this whole thing about carjacking and this car being stolen began to puzzle me because the accident itself was what I call a transmutation from one level to the next. And I'll get into that part of my testimony, but the car was a Mercedes. It was a 450 MLK. Me and Khalil test drove that car a few months before my accident. And when the salesman told us about this truck, because it got the 3-row seats, I got all these children, so I needed something 7-seat, 8-seat, so I could put all the kids in one car, right? Not have to make 2 trips. When he told us about the features of his car, one of the features was the security that it came with. These new cars come with key fobs, right? And the key fob got to be in a car for the car to be able to operate. But this car in particular, they said is connected to your phone. If anything go wrong with your car, you're gonna get an alert on your phone to tell you need some air in your tire, you need your oil change. If something go wrong, you could just push a button. Roadside assistance is gonna come because they could track this car. You could shut it off by the phone. You could do all of these things. But yet, this young man was driving this car without a key fob. He had this car for several days. How were they not able to find this car with all of this security that's supposed to be on the new Mercedes? Then I did a little bit more homework. Me and Mark went down to the lawyer's office and we were discussing some things, and he had all these files on the desk. And I said, do you mind if I look through these while you talk? And I looked through there, and that's when I saw what kind of car it was. And then I saw the person that owned the car, and I started doing some investigation of my own in the background of the person that even owned the car. It was a police commander. You mean to tell me you carjacked a police commander's Mercedes 450 MLK truck? Wow. I looked up his address, Ebony. He don't live on the south side of Chicago. He live on the north side. He's out of a north side station up on North Avenue. So how did they carjack your car, officer? Then I did some more homework because, there was a video floating around on Facebook of my accident who seemed to be with you too. Brother Lamar was on the scene. Facebook Live about it's a doggone shame these police riding through the community like this, chasing this man down the street and then ran these people off the road. So everything was on Facebook. And I went back and I looked at the officers that was in the video. Those same officers used to harass me and Mark almost every day. But we live in Inglewood. One from Terrortown. Remember they pulled us off on 76 and Halsted, and they said, man, where all y'all going? And I said, man, we going to a study. He said, y'all ain't going to no study. What y'all up to? Y'all must be up to something. Tell me where the guns and the drugs at. I said, oh, really? You want to know where the guns and drugs are? I said, shoot. You can start right there on 71st and Halsted. They over there in the clothing store. You can go to 69th and Halsted. They got the guns behind the counter. They got a thing in the floor at the cell phone shop. I said, oh, it's another store on 69th, the Racine, where the guns is in the floor. And Bob said, man, what's wrong with you, man? Don't be doing that. Them people gonna come after us, man. You telling on all the spots, man. I ain't gonna be able to go back to the neighborhood. They found out I'm in a car with you and you just telling everything like that. And so they pulled out their little notebooks and they started writing down, and then some white shirt pulled up and came to the car and said, what did he say? Oh, he crazy. Come on. Don't believe him. Come on. Just let them go. We gotta do something else. And I said, what? You mean to tell me y'all don't want to find out where the guns and drugs? I thought you wanted the guns and drugs. I'm telling you where they at. Why y'all leaving? And Mark them said, I can't believe it. They ain't gonna take, man, these cops. I said, yeah, what I've been telling y'all, the minister been teaching us that they got something to do with the guns and drugs being in our neighborhood, and that guns and drugs has always been a tool of gentrification to bring our property values down so they can scare grandmama and mama out of their house, put them in a senior home, and then they can take the value of their property and get it cheap and then sell it for high. Is that not what they're doing? Can you not find a $300,000 house in Inglewood now? And so it was just bearing witness to them that what we teach and what we were talking about was going on. But I also began to notice in hindsight that at that time, I was very vehement about the new drug lord in our community, because there was this narrative going around that said there was no more gang chiefs. There's no more structure. That's what's wrong with the shorties. That's why all the killing is going on and this, that, and other. And I said, no, y'all lying. It's structure, but the new structure don't give a damn about Black life. So we got some new gang chiefs, and they the Arabs in our community. That's where the guns and the drugs is coming from. That's who got our kids not just standing on corners, but standing in front of their stores while the drug people go in the store and pay for their stuff. And then on the way out the door, they throw up the finger on how many drugs to give them and this, that, and the other. And the little boy standing outside making $40 a day. That's the new drug dealer, but y'all don't know that. And he just happy because he ain't got no food at home. He can eat nachos with cheese and meat all day. He can stand there and talk to the girls. He the Pac-Man. He got all the weed and the drugs. So he Mr. Popular right now because he the weed man, right, Mark? Who the most popular in the neighborhood? The weed man, right? If you got the weed, you got the girls. So a lot of our young men were in this situation, and I began to find out just who was really behind it. And I found out that these same Arabs were the same ones that own the gas station, all the liquor stores, all the little fake bootleg clothing stores in our neighborhood. I began to find out they were the owners of the wine and spirit, and that wine and spirit just seemed to be popping up everywhere in our community. Next door, the daycares, next door, the churches. I mean, they was going around here, going around there. I mean, they were just popping up all over the community. And then I found out these same Arabs have all the liquor licenses to almost 90% of the so-called black-owned clubs in our community. Reynolds and the other place when it was there, and the Dayton game, and all of these different places on Stony Island and on 75th. I don't know the name, y'all know Dukes and the President's Lounge, and they were in control of all of these things, but we thought they was black-owned. They just had a black face. So I discovered that they made a deal with the gang chiefs. We'll let you run the club, give you the use of our liquor license. You just pay us $10,000 a week in rent, and you can have the club. Meanwhile, we'll take the kids and we'll go do the stuff on the street, and you do your stuff inside the club. And so I began to expose that. A few months before my accident, I remember standing up at a meeting that the Cook County Sheriff was having, a clergy meeting, and they had some elected officials and dignitaries in the room. And I stood up and I made the claim, and I was very careful as minister instructed me to say allegations. Well, it's been alleged. We've heard on the street that this is taking place, and what are you guys going to do about it? And so that word started going around, and people started coming out and doing their own due diligence and their own research and investigation, and finding out that the things that I was saying was true. So on one level, because it's natural and spiritual, I began to believe that my accident wasn't necessarily an accident. But God being who God is, and us knowing that the minister called this Resurrection Sunday, God had already prepared me for that job. The Quran admonished us to hurl truth and falsehood until we knocked out his brains. Our job was to redeem our people and deliver them, and redeem them from what? From all of this hellacious activity that's going on in our community. How can you call yourself a black man in today's society and you don't protect the women that your children come from? How? How do y'all get mad at Kanye West? Everything he said. And y'all missed the part about the 30 million babies aborted by Planned Parenthood last year? Y'all missed that part? How you gonna be a black man and this man just said 30 million black babies got aborted by Planned Parenthood when Margaret Sanger decided to get together with the Ku Klux Klan to pay black people back for fighting in a war against slavery? And y'all just let that go over your head. Oh, he said something about George Floyd. He wore a damn t-shirt. He set us back. His t-shirt say White Lives Matter. Yours say Balenciaga. What's the damn difference? They both promoting white people and they self-interest. But y'all missed that one part. I didn't hear nothing else he said after that. I said, man, minister been teaching that since the 90s. Y'all thought that was new information? All you keyboard, Facebook, Google gangsters. Y'all thought that was new information? This stuff been going on for years. It didn't just start with Kanye West saying something. It's been going on. We got to deal with what's going on in our community. Genocide is real. Ain't nobody talking about genocide no more. Everybody talking about reparations. We done reduced ourselves to begging, but the real reparations is the repairing of your damn mind. It ain't trying to associate and get along with white people. It's accepting yourself for who you are. Who is the black man in America? The black man is God. When are you going to accept your own, come to your own, be true to yourself? Be true to your woman and your children and your community. When are you going to stand up and stop being this individualist and join on to a group of brothers that are in like mind with you and in concert with you to save our babies? They under attack. I spent 7 days on the train with ECCSC and Brother Tyrone Muhammad. It's 35, 40 children under the age of 20 that live on the trains. Every day we saw the same kids, same clothes, house shoes, comforter, pillow. As the train was like it was a party bus or something to be. And the first couple of days, it looked like, okay, well, they just kicking it. You know, we started on the weekend, but then Monday came. Y'all still kicking it? It kicked in. They homeless. It's 17,000 homeless youth in Inglewood. Y'all want to know why they all on the corner? And I ain't talking about the ones that got put out for being hard-headed like me. You know, I got put out too. You know, you get to be hard-headed, start smelling yourself, stick your chest out to your mama, she show you the door. That's one group of homeless people. I ain't talking about them. Them ain't really homeless. Because you could always go to auntie house, grandma house, you can couch surf, you can do all kind of stuff to make it. You can sleep in your car, you can do. I'm talking about the ones that's deemed to the street. They don't have nobody else to go to. It's a bunch of them out there. So you wonder why they're doing the activities that they're doing. So when Minister Raheem said that Raheem is mercy, Kased is mercy, Aten is the one God, don't y'all think we need some mercy? Look at the merciful way that God dealt with our situation. There's not too many things I remember about my accident other than sitting at the light and I was talking to Mark and I was fussing about a friend of mine, calling me and begging me about some money or something. I can't even call his name. I could just see his face in my head. He used to come to the temple when we had the temple on the east side. And he was bugging me about some doggone t-shirts and some Cub stuff that he wanted to get. And he didn't have no money. He wanted it on consignment and this, that, and the other. But he's the same guy. Every time you talk to him, he made $10,000 last week. So I was fussing about him. And we were at the light on our way to a UAPA banquet. And I said, man, we're going to go to this banquet because I got to go. Because if I don't go, the minister's going to get mad at me. So I can't not go to the banquet. Webb's going to be upset. So I guess I'll get some gas. I was going to keep going. And then when I said, I guess I'll get some gas, I stopped. And I hit the turn signal. And so we sitting there and we waiting. You know, the traffic is coming this way. We sitting at the light ready to make the left turn. And I see the other car in this lane coming towards us. They were going south. They made their left and I made my left. And the next thing I know, I see Mark, I look over and he coming towards me. And I'm like, what in the world? We had got hit. And the way he hit us, he hit the front of the car like a pool ball. Whatever that friction was, made the front of that car hit the curb. And to show you how powerful words are, people always say, boy, you need to put your seatbelt on. And I know some of y'all probably heard me say this. Man, I take my chances with the concrete. I'm going out the window. Somebody get ready to hit me. I see a car coming. I'm getting out the window. They say, man, you might not have a chance to do that. What you mean? That's dangerous. Just put your seatbelt on. Seatbelt save lives. Well, it almost killed me in another accident. So I didn't believe in seatbelt. I always said I take my chances with the concrete. That car hit us in the front. And we hit that curb so hard on my side of the car that it pushed the car down. And I went out the back window. And Mark and the car kept going down the street. And all I remember was laying on that ground, and Jedediah Brown, the other activist with Lamont, was standing over me talking about some young man. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And before that, when I got hit, you know how you get lightheaded, get hit, and you about to lose consciousness or whatever. I said, man, I'm about to go out like this. Damn, like this. This is what I'm thinking to myself, and I could feel me almost coming out of my body. And then I saw this big old light. And then I started calming down. When I saw the light, I said, well, I guess I'm going to heaven. And then the light cut off. And a voice said, you ain't getting out of here that easy. I still got work for you to do. And it was Minister Raheem's voice. And I, at that point, was turned back around because I thought I was gone. And I could see my body laying on the curb. And I say, is that Jedediah? What are you doing standing over me like this? And the next thing you know, I was in my body talking to him. And he said, stay awake, young man. Stay awake. You're going to be okay. The ambulance is on their way. And I smiled and I said, Pastor Brown, I know I'm going to be okay. And he said, you know me? I say, yeah, I know you, Jedediah. He said, okay, well, just stay awake, stay awake. And so the ambulance came. And the last thing I remember was the ambulance saying, we got 2 code red, 2 code blue. We got 2 going to Strozier and 2 going to Northwestern. And I reached up and I grabbed his arm and I say, Pastor, if you love us, you'll make sure we go to Northwestern. And that was the last thing I remember, was we going to Northwestern. And I woke up a few days later in Northwestern. They told me, you know where you at? Do you know what happened? I said, no, I don't know where I'm at, but I know I was in an accident. And they said, well, you at Northwestern Hospital. And some tears came out of my eyes. And I was like, ooh, Pastor Brown, Pastor Brown. I was thinking to myself, Pastor Brown, he hooked us up. And then I was like to Hawk, I said, but you know, there was somebody in the accident with me. How's he doing? And they didn't want to answer the question. And every time somebody came in the room, I said, well, how's he doing? They didn't want to answer the question. So finally, when I got to the one nurse, you know, you always get that one nurse who, you know, she carry her little book around in her pocket and she'll pray with you and this, that, and other. I say, ma'am, can you tell me what's going on? She said, well, we're really not supposed to talk about nobody. I said, that's my son. I need to know how my son doing. She said, well, they operated on him and he died. But then all of a sudden he came back again. And then we finished the operation and then we took him to the room and then he died again. And then we had to seduce him and put him back in the thing because when he woke up the last time, he started pulling the stuff out of his body, talking about, I ain't wasn't in no damn accident. Let me out this damn hospital. I don't know who you people is. And so we had to put him in. Right now, he's sleeping in an induced coma. And I said, can I go see him? She said, but I just said he's sleeping. He's in an induced coma. And I said, ma'am, I don't know what the degree or level of your faith is, but I just got to get in the room. You understand? I just need to be in the room. And so she said, I ain't supposed to take you up here. So she took me up there anyway. And she said, okay, we're going to go walk down the hallway like we're taking a walk, but I'm going to take you up there. But I'm telling you, you can't stay no longer than 3 minutes. I said, ma'am, I just want to get in the room. And she took me in the room and I looked over there and he was asleep with this look on his face. And I said, Mark. She said, he's in a coma. I said, Mark, boy, get up. And he opened up his eyes and I touched his chest because he started trying to act up again. I said, boy, we've been in an accident. Don't pull another dang gonna cord out of you. We in the hospital, everything okay. I'm downstairs. We gonna be all right. I can't stay, but I gotta go. I just want to let you know we was in the accident, everything good. We gonna be all right. You straight? All right, I'm in room such and such. Telling people to call me and put me on speakerphone. And he started crying and I started crying and I looked at him and I was freaking out because I was looking at all the stuff in his face and I didn't know what that was. And I was trying to be strong for him, but he looked like something else because they had just redid his jaw and he had all these wires and stuff still coming out. And I'm just like, oh God, let me just go sit down. I can't take it no more. So they took me back down to my room and she explained to me everything that had happened and all the rods they had to put in his body and the different operations he had to undergo. And I'm like, man, Lord, I didn't put this boy in this situation. I know when I get out of here, his mama gonna kill me. She told me don't let nothing happen to her son. I said, if he hang with me, he ain't gonna get in no trouble. And I got him in his hospital. I was scared of his mama and his grandma. I'm like, man, they gonna get me. They gonna think something was wrong. I hope don't nothing come back. And nobody be talking about I was drinking or doing something I wasn't supposed to do or whatever, because this man family gonna kill me. But through that whole transition, man, I'm telling you, with all the stuff they said that they did to me, the different surgery, the neck brace, all of that stuff, man, I never felt the physical ailments of my accident. The only thing I was hurt. I had this one little piercing in my side from him coming, his seat came to my seat and mine, and me and my seat went out the window. So that part of the seat or whatever snatched me out the car. When I went out that window, it kind of snatched the side of me. So that was the only thing that I really felt. I've never felt any neck pain. I had a lot of lower back pain that I thought was the fractured spine and different things that they was telling me I had. But later on, I found out it was just my core had gotten so weak that carrying my body weight was hurting. So I'm thinking all this time I got a back pain from the accident. And then I seen Brother Unique Gatherings, and he had a thing around his neck and a whole full body back brace. He had broke his back in 4 places. He's like, oh no. I said, man, how long you gonna have to wear that brace? I had to wear my neck brace a long time. I bet you got to wear that a year. He said, yeah, that's what they told me, but I'm gonna wear it 2 months and then I'm gonna get back on the mat and I'm gonna get me together. I said, how you gonna do that? But your back messed up. He said, oh man, you just build your core up and it'll automatically take care of the rest of that. I said, for real? You can show me how to do that? He said, yeah. And I started working with him, and the first Monday was hell. I thought he was crazy because it didn't change. That pain got worse. But after that, the pain went away. So the physical attributes of that accident didn't really affect me as much as the spiritual one, because all it did was solidify to me that I was in God's hands, that I was one of the chosen, because I, just like many others that had been chosen, had overcome something that the average person didn't. I was supposed to have been paralyzed from the neck down. Anytime you do something to your, they say below your third vertebrae, that's, you're supposed to be paralyzed. It was my third, fourth, and seventh vertebrae. So everything that was down there was supposed to make me paralyzed and not supposed to be able to walk. And I'm not supposed to be talking to y'all 6 years later on this same day that just so happened to be my sister's birthday. She said she would have dug me up and killed me again if I'd have died on her birthday, because I just would have messed it up for the rest of her life. So thank God, I didn't die on her birthday, but I inherited her Earth Day, because this is what we call Resurrection Sunday. And so with that, my time is at hand. I just want to say this one last thing. This movement was given to Minister Raheem to show mercy on the people that have already run out of time, because grace is gone. There is no more grace for Black people. Ain't no more time to get it together. The only thing we got now is merciful dealings with our people. And if you want to be part of the merciful dealings and the change that you like to see in this community, please join us here on West 71st Street, 616 East 71st Street. Please join us every Sunday from 12 to 2:30 p.m. community, because this group and this organization is not only going to tell you the truth, but we're going to show you how to represent the truth and go out there and change the hearts, the minds, and behavior of what we see in our community. And as the scriptures say, come, let us make man after our image and our likeness, a man of mercy, a man of peace. So I greet you as I leave you as I greeted you in the ancient but yet holy words of peace, which are Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Abaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Peace. And now I'll call our sister Ebony Stevenson, to come up and close us out. Thank you all for listening. Peace.
Peace. Wow. Peace, everyone. All I can say is, wow. I've heard both of these stories before, but each time I hear it, I learn something new. And just how powerful both Minister Tahaka and Minister Yahshua's testimonies were. Like that, even in those moments that, could have took regular, ordinary people out, the calmness that they had, the fact that both of them were in these accidents, right? But they each wasn't just responsible for themselves. They had somebody else that they was responsible for. Minister Tahaka had Shanaze and him trying to keep her calm and to help save her life. Minister Yahshua sitting here calm and Mark down in the hospital so that he knew that he was safe. Like, these are the elements of our people, because this theme of knowing who you are, Black man and Black women, But it's not just Minister Tahaka and Minister Joshua. How many of you have these stories that you done gone through something, that you knew it was, that you felt different, and that you survived, right? That you were resurrected, that the creative force with you gave you another chance, and now you looking for an outlet, you looking for a place in order to fulfill your mission here on earth. And so if you're looking for that place, if you're looking for that spiritual home, I second what Minister Joshua said. Feel free to join us here each and every Sunday in the Grand Crossing community of Chicago, here at 616 East 71st Street. I'm going to leave you with these 3 words, and I want us all to stand up, and I want us to do this together. You in Facebook land, hold your right fist in the air. I see we got some children in here. You hold your right fist in the air. Yes, the other right. I want you to repeat after me, and I want you to say this with that power of that blackness that's within you, not the color blackness, that spirit of creativity that the Creator put within you. Black power, black power, black power. Peace.
In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.